Hi folks, I saw on the internet there was a lot of people with Ember Hearth stoves that had no idea how they operated. I thought I'd go over real quick. This will be the last day that I'm using this stove because I'm upgrading to a higher efficiency. This stove was made in 1984, and at the time it was rather state-of-the-art for this one feature, which is this guy right here. This is a secondary burner air intake. You get a reburn with gases. All modern stoves have that technology, but in 1984 this was rather new technology. The other thing that's special about this stove for the day was it had preheat chambers into the air going into the stove. So air goes in the stove, and these two spinners right here, as well as the top. You've got handles that you can store on the side if you want. If you're running a real hot fire, you can keep your handles cool, although they typically stay pretty cool anyway. Over here on the side, you've got your damper, which has multiple positions. It's different than most dampers in that you pull to open it. For efficient operation of this stove is 2 clicks, 2 notches in. That's going to give you the right amount of draw. Any smaller than that, if you've got any gas or something that, a gas bubble in your wood, it'll throw smoke out your air intakes. So let me show you. So before you open the door, you want to open your damper up, and then you can pull your doors open. You've got your gas seal around here, which is replaceable. I've replaced this one time, and I've used this stove for 10 years without any problems. It has a blower. Let me shut these doors real quick. I'll show you the blower real fast. So the blower has tubes. There's 6 tubes on top, plus there's tubes on the side. And when you're getting, if you wind up the fire too hot or something, it'll start talking to you by basically clicking or thumping, which is the metal expanding too much. And you can kind of see, if you peek down, if you see any kind of glow in those tubes, you're running that fire too hot. The easiest way to cool it off is to turn on your blower. I've got this set on a remote, which is just easy to turn on and off. It just saves some time, and I've got it set. That's pretty much just maximum. I eliminated the rheostat. It came with a variable controller that eventually went bad because it's 38 years old. So anyway, back to the operation of the stove. This one I've got has all the bells and whistles. So we've got our damper open. Twin doors. It came with this little guy, which is nice, as you can set inside your stove. And watch out for hot parts. You spin these; they're spring loaded. Get the orientation now, and they lock in, so you can have a protected fire if you want. If that's something that if you want to watch through a screen, some people like that. Personally, it's not nearly as nice as looking through glass, right? But it was an option. My grandparents bought this stove and had it installed in the house because previously they had heated with wood to a fireplace, and that's crazy inefficient. So back to operation. The firebox is about 3.5 cubic feet. It's a big firebox. It likes to eat wood, even with the reburn technology. And the most efficient way to run this stove, you want to have both of these opened up on starting. But after you got your fire established, you're going to want this, said 2 clicks closed. This one should stay open all the time, and one of the two, it doesn't matter which one, but I'd like to run this with about 2 or 3 turns cracked open. That's going to give you the most efficient burn on this stove. It's also going to give you the longest heat life. Anyway, it's a good stove if you got, if you don't mind feeding it more wood, then it's a good solid option for that period of stove. This would be one of the few stoves that actually had reburner technology. So, you know, you can pick these up for really cheap, because people like me are taking them out for something prettier but also more efficient. Your newer stoves are just really much more advanced. But by comparison, a stove the same age, this is a much better stove than what you're typically going to find in a 1980s model stove. The other thing, these were made in Chattanooga. Ember Hearth is on the cast iron doors. The cast iron doors are kind of a nice feature in that you never have to worry about glass breakage or anything like that. So it's safety wise, that's kind of a nice thing, especially if you're putting this out in a location that you may not be around. They made this model as both a wood stove and an insert, and they were the same thing. The only difference was they put legs on this exact stove and called it a freestanding stove, but they're identical. So anyway, if you got an Ember Hearth, I hope this video finds you and you've got some clue as to how to run it, and it'll help you guys out. And if you see one of these and you need just for a garage or something like that, not a bad stove to pick up for the money, as long as it's not been overfired, which you can tell that by just looking at the box and looking for signs of warpage and that kind of thing. That's, you know that the stove's been overfired and you probably need to pass on it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and make sure you like and subscribe. Oh, and I'll be shooting the installation of the removal of this unit and putting the new $5,000 unit in its place. So